My name's Bethan Cawley and I'm 52 years old and I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, known as CLL. I was diagnosed 3 years ago now, so August 2015. About the April-May time, I started with a terrible sore throat and just couldn't get rid of it. It got so severe that I thought I really do need to go to the doctors. It felt like I was swallowing over glass. This doctor was great. She examined me and she said, "Did you know your lymph nodes in your neck are quite enlarged?" And I said, "Yes, I do. It's typical of me. As soon as I have a sore throat, it's sort of my measure of, you know, how well I am." And so the GP went along with me. She was like, "Yeah, maybe, you know, but we'll do some bloods and maybe you should take some time off work." So I let her do the bloods and I definitely didn't take any time off work. So 10 days later, I was recalled and she said, "Your bloods threw up a few anomalies, you know, heightened white cell count, so I've referred you to haematology." So he examined my face and my neck and he said, "Oh, you've got quite a few lymph nodes, you know, were you aware?" And I said, "Well, I'm aware of this bigger one here because that's residual from glandular fever from me being 11. But no, I wasn't aware of any more." So then felt my collarbone and he said, "Oh, I can feel a few here." And he let me feel one. So I found this sort of little pea-sized lymph node. So went and had my bloods done, went and sat back in the waiting room. He called me in and he took me a different way down a corridor. And I said, "Oh, we're going in a different room?" And he said, "Yeah, I just want you to see the consultant." So I walked into this room. There's a consultant sat there, a nurse stood there, an auxiliary sat there, and he's with me. So again, full examination. He said, "Well, I am really, really concerned that you've got something." And I said, "Well, like what?" And then it hit me before he said anything. I said, "You're thinking non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, aren't you?" And he said, "How do you know?" And I said, "Well, I used to be a nurse." So he said, "Well, we'll just have a few things going on." I followed the process that the consultant had said. So I had the biopsy, the lymph node removal, then ended up with a CT scan, you know, all aiming towards the diagnosis. So I didn't hear anything for a while. My mobile phone went ENT saying, "Can you come in tomorrow, please? And can you make sure you bring somebody with you?" And that's when we went to ENT the next day, walked in, saw this lovely ENT consultant. But this fella said, "Well, you have got a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. You'll probably need treatment straight away and it'll be chemotherapy." And I was just like, whoa. My biggest concern was my son was getting married in October. By this time it was August. And he just said, "Well, you won't be well for the wedding." So I was really, really upset about that. So I came home thinking I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and I was going to start chemotherapy straight away. I then had an appointment for haematology the next day. So I'd had 24 hours really to get my head around non-Hodgkin's, do a bit of Googling, you know, look at regimes, see what he was going to tell me. Went in, saw my consultant and fell in love with him that day because he was just, "Right, what have you been told? What do you know?" And he said, "Well, actually, you have got a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but there's lots of different subtypes, and you haven't got non-Hodgkin's. You've got something called chronic lymphocytic leukemia." So I was like, "All right, so what does that mean for me?" And he said, "Well, you don't need treatment." And I was like, "What? I don't need treatment? I don't need chemotherapy?" He said, "Well, not now. What we're doing is we're putting you on watch and wait. So we will monitor you, we'll watch your bloods, you know, you'll have a CT scan and we'll see where you are and we'll decide what's going to happen with you."